It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started.
All right, I've been challenged with a question. The question was, quote, has all the agility been sucked out of every agile project? And I kind of laughed when I first read it. I said, that's a good question because many people are seeing this transition where agile projects are kind of becoming waterfall projects with sprints. Now, I want to be careful here because one of the things I teach is that when you start doing agile for the very first time, that much of what you're doing in practice is a series of miniature waterfalls executing based on the feedback that you get from the previous cycle. So in some ways, Agile is a series of miniature waterfalls, just with less, less prescribed work to be done, and with teams that are well formed, and in shorter iterations, so we get a good feedback loop. Because the three things that people hope to gain are faster time to market, an increased ability to inspect and adapt, the empirical process, and they want to make sure that they also have higher quality by use of test automation or optimization. Those are the three things that people hope to get out of Agile projects. But what I can tell you is doing Agile is not the same as being Agile. Agile projects are quickly becoming bloated, lazy projects that happen to be broken into 2-week sections. It's like having a Gantt chart with 2-week milestones, right? The waterfall production line approach is suited for projects that have completely known requirements or building things that are incredibly small. So with that being said, Agile projects become these things that you often hear me use the term technical user requirements documents. Yes. So Agile projects are turds that are rolled in raisins and called roses. Anybody with half a nose can smell and determine these are not roses. So failed projects, late projects, things happen, right? The Agile Manifesto is full of enthusiasm, vibrancy, the we can do it attitude. It empowers small teams to create software and products and services with minimal guidance and tells them how to go get it and to work hard and to do things successfully. But it doesn't necessarily specify exact rules you're meant to follow because the intent is that you learn and improve as you go based on the type of product or service that you're building, that you rely on the empirical process, you rely on a feedback loop to get that information. Agile does promise to deliver products or services faster and have a better return on investment for customers. But when you're hyping something up more than Taylor Swift, disappointment is likely in 99% of what you're going to deliver, right? So Agile took over the world and became so popular that everyone was demanding Agile project delivery, regardless of whether it made sense, it was a good choice, they had the right people. There's so many people who just said, we're going to do the Agile, right? People don't understand. And the agility part of projects seems to be going away. What I've seen is that people are starting to disregard retrospectives altogether, or the agility in changing the ways of working. The changing the way of work is gone. The faster delivery into production is gone. The deadlines are expected to be kept now. We're going back to date driven. Teams are not empowered or autonomous. They're not allowed to make choices. It's like having upfront requirements, fixed deadline, and 2-week demos in a waterfall framework. This is terrible when this happens. The word Agile means nothing, and Agile projects have had all the agility simply squeezed out of them. There are many projects which are Agile in name, but actually chaos in reality. There's no appetite for empowering small teams. Management doesn't trust the teams to do their work and wants to monitor all the decisions, especially with COVID and its work from home mentality. We've seen an explosion in meetings on Zoom. No focus on improving the ways of working. No optimizing tools for a project. There's just an extra layer of management and a much bigger layer of meetings that slow down development, giving teams less and less time to do the actual work. And any time gained from remote working is gobbled up in all the meetings. It's just one of these things where, whether you call it Scrummerfall or whether you call it Wagile or Water Agile, whatever you call it, Scrummerfall is a group of development methods that result from attempting to implement Agile in environments that are not ideally suited for it. That's a good definition, right? The Scrummerfall approach is not a tool suitable for building unique software or products. It's an inflatable dartboard or a chocolate teapot. I like that. Um, it creates impossible project plans to deliver late projects at a higher cost. No one knows how the software or hardware should work at the start. It's an emergent process where you discover requirements as high level requirements are turned into detail requirements. You cannot create fixed deadlines unless you know everything that needs to be delivered and guarantee no requirements are going to be changed ever. I say this all the time. In fact, I always talk about the concept of a red light, green light report, which is basically an Excel sheet with a color-coded background system that says, hey, these things are green. That means you can expect them as part of the delivery. These are yellow, which means they're at risk. And these other ones over here are red, which means they're not going to happen. So if you see something in red that you need to speak up, and something else is going to push down, right? And I think that if we do this, that we can still have dates in Agile. That's okay. But we also need to have transparency around those dates in Agile and let people know what they're really going to get. So I guess the big question that everybody's thinking is, why did we get here? How did we get here, right? Waterfall is simply not suited for any large-scale project. There, I said it. Even if your large-scale systems are repeatable, waterfall or plan-driven is not going to get you there. There's going to be gaps. Agile offered a more clear way to deliver projects quickly and on time with small teams. There was no magic formula that turned bad people who develop or code or build things into superhumans that delivered everything on time every time. There's no magic pill. There's no magic formula. There's no red pill, blue pill, right? We now have this whole the grass is greener on the other side scenario where during later failed waterfall projects, Agile projects were always better. But now we have later failed Agile projects, which case Scrummerfall seems to be the answer. We want ways to monitor and tie things in. The truth is, we become too busy to think. I enjoy working on Agile projects because while they might start badly, there is always hope that they'd improve. It's refreshing for the team to be asked to identify problems and put forward suggestions and know that they're not going to be ignored. The team feels empowered, ever so slightly, with the potential to decide and act fast. Having a product owner who can decide allowed developers to have direct access to a business expert. But these days, Agile has become so slow, gruelingly slow, trudgery slow, like swimming through a pool of peanut butter. There's lots of effort and very little reward. So I think even when the world ends, there's still going to be Agile projects. And, those projects are still going to be running late and being delivered by cockroaches. I don't know, or zombies, right? I think the key here is that we need to come to terms and accept that Agile is falling back into some waterfall tendencies because, drumroll, people aren't living up to doing Agile correctly. If we had lived up to doing Agile correctly to begin with, we wouldn't have had the pendulum swinging back the other way towards more traditional project management. So my advice to you is if you want to solve this problem, start doing Agile right. Start delivering things of value. Start delivering sooner. Create air of transparency. Reduce your team size. Limit work in progress. If you do all these things, Agile is going to be successful without you falling back into a Scrummerfall model. In other words, don't go chasing Scrummerfall. Please stick to the Agile and the Scrum that you're used to. Okay, that'll do it for today. As always, I encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.